So, you're thinking about renovating your home, but the thought of all that endless red tape is just, ugh. Well, what if I told you there might be a much faster way to get your project off the ground? We're going to dive into something called the Complying Development Certificate, or CDC, and see how this approval fast track can be a total game changer for your reno. We've all heard the horror stories, right? You spend months, sometimes even years, just waiting for a simple development application or DA to get approved by the council. It's a process that can feel incredibly slow, really complex, and honestly, full of uncertainty. It stops so many great projects dead in their tracks before they even begin. So what's the alternative? Well, this is where the CDC pathway comes into play. You can basically think of it as the express lane for home renovations. Instead of that slow, complex, and uncertain DA process, CDC is fast, it's streamlined, and it's based on a really clear black and white set of rules. Bottom line, if your project fits the code, you get a swift approval. It's that simple. All right, let's kick things off with what you can do inside the existing walls of your home. You might actually be surprised by just how much you can change without needing to go through that whole DA saga. The scope here is honestly so impressive. We're not just talking about a lick of paint. You want to knock down a load-bearing wall to get that dreamy open-plan living area? CDC can often cover it, as long as you've got the structural engineering sorted. It also covers complete kitchen and bathroom gut jobs, adding a brand new ensuite, totally reconfiguring your room layouts, and even putting in new stairs. Now, there is one crucial rule for all these internal jobs. The building's official classification can't change. In simple terms, your house has to stay a house. You can't, for example, use the CDC fast track to turn your home into a coffee shop. But as long as you stick to that, the flexibility you have inside is just incredible.
Okay, let's step outside for a bit. Changing the whole look and feel of your home's exterior is another huge area where this CDC pathway really shines.
This is where a lot of the architectural magic can happen. You can put in much bigger windows to flood your home with light, or maybe turn a window into a beautiful set of French doors. You want to add some skylights? Go for it. Want a completely new look for your home? CDC can even cover replacing all the external cladding. It also allows for new verandas and awnings, provided they meet the setback rules, which, don't worry, we'll get to in a minute. And yep, there's more. Adding a new deck or a balcony is one of the most common CDC approvals out there. And you know that underused garage? With CDC, you can often convert it into a proper living space, like a home office or a rumpus room, just as long as you still have enough off-street parking on your property. So far, we've just been tweaking the existing house. But what if you need more space? Like a lot more space. Let's look at how CDC handles additions that actually expand your home's footprint or its volume. This here breaks down the #1 rule for each type of addition. Think of it as your main compliance checkpoint. So if you're extending out the back, it's all about setbacks and site coverage. If you're going up with the second story, the big one is staying under that 8.5-meter height limit. Converting an attic? Well, those minimum ceiling heights are absolutely non-negotiable. And for something like a detached studio, you've got to follow some very specific size and setback rules. Okay, we've seen what's possible, and it's a lot. But all of it, every single thing, hinges on following a strict set of rules. This is the complying part of complying development, so let's break down the most important ones you need to know. Remember this number, 8.5 meters. This is the hard ceiling, quite literally, for most CDC projects. It's measured from the existing ground level all the way to the tippy top of the building, and trust me, it's a rule you simply cannot bend. Next up, we have setbacks. This is just a bit of planning speak for the invisible buffer zone around your house. It's the minimum distance you have to keep between any part of your building and your property lines, at the front, down the sides, and out the back. So what are those distances? Well, as a general guide, you're looking at about 4.5 meters from your front boundary, maybe 4 meters from the rear, and somewhere between 900 millimeters and 1.5 meters down the sides. Now, these can vary a bit depending on your lot size and council area, so you always have to check, but this gives you a really clear idea to start with. Beyond just the height and setbacks, there are 2 other key size limits. You've got your local floor space ratio, or FSR, and your site coverage. Basically, FSR controls the total amount of floor area you can have, while site coverage limits how much of your land can be covered by buildings. Both of these are absolutely crucial for a CDC approval. Look, privacy is a huge deal, especially in built-up areas, and CDC has really clear rules for it. If you've got a window that overlooks a neighbor, you've got three main options to comply. 1. You can raise the window sill to at least 1.5 meters off the floor. 2. You can use frosted or obscure glass. Or 3. You can install a fixed privacy screen. It's a pretty simple checklist to make sure everyone stays happy. Okay, now for what might be the most critical part of this whole explainer. The CDC pathway is powerful, for sure, but it is not available for every single property. So let's look at the absolute deal breakers. Before you get too excited and start drawing up plans, you have to check if your property has any automatic restrictions. If your home falls into one of the categories we're about to look at, the CDC Fast Track is unfortunately off the table. You'll have to go through the traditional DA process instead. It is absolutely essential to check your property for these red flags. If your home is heritage listed or sits in a heritage conservation area, CDC is a no-go. The same thing applies if it's on environmentally sensitive land, like wetlands. And for safety reasons, properties in high-risk bushfire zones or certain flood-prone areas are also automatically excluded from the CDC pathway. So after all that, we come back to the big question. The CDC pathway can absolutely unlock your home's potential and do it way faster and with much more certainty than the old council process. But it all comes down to this. Does your vision for the project fit neatly inside its clear, non-negotiable rulebook? Is yours the right